All right, welcome to another episode of Black Swan Revelations. What we're going to do in this video is a continuation of yesterday's video, and we're just going to dive right in. If you like end times talk, if you like talking about the book of Revelation, the flood, the rapture, resurrection, all this stuff, this is the channel for you. And I have my lovely sister Aimee here, who's going back home today, but we thought we would just get her on this channel one more time and we'll wrap things up. And I'm excited to talk about today, and let's just jump right into the flood. Would you like me to read? Or do you want to read?
Go ahead.
Okay.
You have such a soothing voice.
Yeah. Angelic. My scratchy, annoying voice. All right. Man's wickedness. All right. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, that his days shall be 120 years. Touched on a little bit. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I've created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air, for repenteth me that I have made them. But, interesting that it's on verse 8. Chapter 6, verse 8. Noah found grace in his eyes, in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations.
Let's just stop there for a moment.
And Noah walked with God.
Yeah, Noah walked with God. Really quick.
Yeah.
We see the fall, man.
Yes.
But we see the rise of the Nephilims, interbreeding, like we understand that, men were wicked hearts, but it wasn't just that. It was the DNA of God in his creation has been compromised.
Yep.
Right?
Compromise. That's
compromise,
a good word.
Right? And so
animals, everything, plant life, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
So, we look at this, and Noah was of pure blood. So, and God had to preserve this bloodline because the Messiah comes from it.
Yes.
Right. So this is important. Okay.
Yep.
So
I like that.
Yeah.
Yep. And it repented, where Noah found grace. These are the generations. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt, which that's a interesting point. Before God, and the earth was filled with violence. This is key to tie in with Matthew 24, because again, Jesus said, when the Son of Man is coming back, it'll be like the days of Noah. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Same kind of a time frame. Same look, if you will. All right, so...
Just a little side note.
Yeah.
What we brought up here with the Nephilims, the DNA has been compromised. I mean, this is kind of, level. But if we look at what's going on in the world, we have AI, we have robotics, we have, compromising the image of God, of man. As and there's cloning out there. There's all sorts of genetic things that they're doing to our DNA. So it's saying it's pretty interesting.
Are you saying that Tom Cruise is a clone?
Potentially.
No. Just because he looks younger than his previous films, like 10 years ago.
The rise of the Nephilim are at hand. But that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother, we'll never get this.
Yeah.
If we go into the Nephilim.
Yeah.
Deep. But I agree. I think we're compromising our DNA right now.
Yeah.
With whatever it is. There's stuff going on. Our friend Elon Musk is constantly warning us about the dangers of EI, but yet
AI.
he's creating EI, AI,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. He's warning us,
Mm-hmm.
but yet he builds his whole company around artificial intelligence and Neuralink, and he wants to put a little chip somewhere. Probably not here, right here, because that would be too obvious. But I'm like, dude, if you're talking about the negative consequences, why are you building a whole $1 billion company to put this stuff in us? Mind-boggling to me.
That's a whole
Another video. All right. So,
probably
all right.
3 at
So,
least videos.
so if you got anything out, if you haven't got anything from this channel so far, we've learned that perhaps Tom Cruise is a clone. I got to get rid of all his movies now that I have.
Okay, come on.
All right. Okay. Let's continue. I will try. How will we bounce back from this? Okay. The earth was also corrupt, and God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth.
Mm.
And God said to
For
Noah,
all flesh. Yep. See?
And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So the earth is going to destroy everything, which is interesting.
Destroy
Flood.
them with the earth.
Yeah.
Like the earth itself.
Yeah, the earth itself is literally vomiting all over the people, creatures, everything. Just
Creation
same thing
cries
happened.
out too with the level of
Yeah,
sin.
same thing in Canaan when they're just before they're going to the promised land. The land was literally vomiting out its people, its inhabitants. Building the ark. So I won't go into the fashion of the ark. Can I just skip ahead a little bit?
Yeah.
So, so you got all the measurements.
Which is pretty unique in itself. But
yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. And I think Solomon built the house of Lebanon with the same measurements as the ark. Footnote there. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and a cubit thou shalt finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set on the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories thou shalt make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and every living thing and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee, and of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort thou shalt bring into the ark to keep them alive. With thee they shall be male and female. Interesting. I never caught that before. But of fowls
100%.
and of their kind, and of their cattle, their kind, the creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive. 2 of every sort. And thou shalt, and take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee, for them. Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him, so did he. So what are your thoughts on there? What jumped out at you? I never saw it before either, but let's see if we're on the same wavelength.
I think we should just skip that right now, because I think that we can really go into
well, if we're talking about protection and we're talking about the rapture, a lot of people are like, no, we got to go through the flood. We got to start swimming and learning how to swim. We should be really good swimmers. Can you imagine that as Noah is building an ark, there are businesses opening up all around the ark saying, we're selling bathing suits, we're selling fishing poles, because you're going to be fishing 24 hours a day, man. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to teach you how to scuba dive. We're going to teach you how to swim, all this stuff, backstroke, everything. And we're saying the same thing right now. We're saying, okay, how to prepare for the tribulation. Maybe we need some more guns. Maybe we need some more tobacco. And we got to protect ourselves and not trust our neighbors and all this kind of stuff. And we got to go through the tribulation. That's That's, and then on the other side of the tribulation, we're going to be so blessed, so blessed. And I'm saying that's the same mentality that they had in the flood. They're like, let's just make it through the flood.
Well, not only that, they're seeing this ark built for what we kind of broke
Oh,
it
yeah.
down,
Yeah, yeah.
dateline, like
Yeah.
how long it could have looked like,
Yes.
just simply because of the births of people, the
Yes.
births of the sons, timeline. If biblically we're thinking 70 to 90 years ish of it took Noah to build
Right.
this ark.
So
we're-
if they tell Noah there's a flood coming, and he tells the other people there's a flood coming, are they gonna panic?
No, because they're seeing this big thing being built, and it's like, oh man, this guy's been building it for how long? They've been saying this for how long? And you got to understand that at that time it never rained on the earth.
That
There
is
wasn't
key. No
there-
rain.
There was no rain, so they actually really didn't even know what that was, because at that time water would come up from the ground to water everything.
Yep.
Right? So
Yeah.
they thought it was really lunatic, but we can also look at that too, and people were like, you know what? People have been saying this for how long?
Yeah.
You know, God is like not here. He
Yeah.
hasn't, you know, if he was God and he did these things,
Yeah.
that was Old Testament stuff. We don't see big moves like this
Yeah.
of God
and
anymore.
God didn't tell Noah the rain's coming. He said the floods are
The
coming.
flood.
And the flood, we've been through a flood in Calgary, and it was subtle. It was subtle. Nobody panicked. Instead, what we did is we took pictures. We went to the river, we went to these bridges, and look how beautiful that is. The water is actually rising to the Center Street Bridge. Oh, we better back up a little bit. It seems like, whoa, hang on here, whoa. Our cars are now stuck in the water. It's being flooded. It rained as well, but when they released the dam over to the
Oh.
west, everybody was caught off guard. Everybody was caught off guard. Even the people that lived in a town that was called High River. So that
And they get
if that
yearly
isn't a
floods,
warning
it's a
in
very-
itself,
Yeah.
and their homes got destroyed. Canmore, a lot of homes got destroyed, and we were watching it, going, "Isn't this exciting
And the thing
and
is,
terrifying?"
these are flood zones in
Flood
general.
zones in general.
And
They're
yet,
warning us that this is a flood zone. Maybe don't
it's
build a
even
house
hard
here.
to get home insurance in these
Yes,
areas.
insurance went through the roof after that.
But because of the high, or even mortgages,
High
because
risk.
of there's high risk, because
Yes.
of these areas are known for flooding, and yet
Yes.
people were still thrown off guard.
Still building, still marrying, still like people are like, I have to get married this weekend. No, that whole place is flooded out. You don't understand. This is getting worse. You have to evacuate. And I think the same mentality was in Noah's day. Floods, we've seen floods. They're seasonal. They come and go.
They come
Noah,
and go. This happens
You're
all the time.
crazy.
These earthquakes, we always get earthquakes.
We get
always-
lots of earthquakes.
we
What are
get
you
the- you know-
talking about? We get fires. Well,
The
apparently,
intensity of them are a
yeah.
lot different than what.
feels like it's everywhere right now. So,
Anyways,
okay. All right.
focus.
So, yeah. So building the ark, entering the ark. Let's
Okay,
jump
now
to that.
entering the ark is pretty important here.
Yes, so thus Noah did all according to God commanded him, so did he. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation, every clean beast, all the fowls by sevens. Yet 7 days, this is what I want to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
Yet 7 days I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy off the face of the earth. So do you think, based on that verse alone, that Noah knew when it was going to rain?
Yep.
How long?
7 days.
7 days. So now people are like, well, no one knows the time, no one knows the hour, all this kind of stuff.
So, yeah.
And we talked a little bit about what that could mean. And maybe this is an appropriate time to talk about the falling away, what that means. We talked a little bit about it this morning with the disciples falling asleep in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to go there, or do you have something more to add to this?
Um,
Because it ties... Oh, good Lord. Maybe that's him saying, don't talk about that? No. Oh, it's still rolling.
yeah, so we're good.
Okay, we're good. Good. That's
Cameraman had a little
funny.
moment there.
Yeah,
but,
he fell asleep. It's so funny because it shows how superstitious we can be sometimes. You know, like
Spiritualize everything.
Yes, everything is spiritual. Like there's a demon under this plant holder right here because I don't like the color or whatever it is.
Okay,
But
focus.
yeah, all
Okay,
right.
so
Is there anything you want to add before we go to the garden? Because it's important to talk about First Thessalonians 4, where Paul's talking about don't be worried, be comforted. And
Yeah.
people are like, no, that's talking about after the tribulation. That's what that means, because it's so comforting to go
okay,
through
but
the
if
tribulation.
let's just kind of go on here just a little bit more.
Okay.
Right? So tells him, and then he tells, because of the water. Okay.
Where do you want me to read to?
So Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came upon the earth.
Yes. Yeah. So that ties in with what we said yesterday, where there was probably about 100-year range.
Yeah.
Of building the ark.
Because he was what, 500 when
500.
the boys were starting to be built,
yeah, and
starting to be born.
And there was no ark before.
Yeah.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Right.
Were born. No ark. No hint of it. It was after that we see that God approaches Noah saying, build an ark.
Right. Okay.
All right. So Noah and his sons, clean beasts. Okay, the flood. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open.
Firmament.
And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Sure, the firmament.
Okay, but we can go further into this, but I think we're going to stop here to connect it all because of this. So Noah went into the ark. He had, the Lord told him, do this, went in. Doors were shut.
Yep.
It wasn't even raining yet at this point.
Yep.
Doors were shut.
Yes, that's okay.
This is important.
Yeah. So Noah goes in with his family. All the animals go in. And the Lord closes the door himself.
Yeah.
That tells me that there's no going back from this. There's no getting into the ark.
And no coming out.
And they can't get out.
Yeah. Even if Noah said, you know what, like my buddy's down there.
Yeah.
Screaming because they're starting to see a little bit going on here. I can't.
It's
That's
too late.
not my choice anymore.
So when we're talking to the rapture, this is kind of what we're saying too, that when the Lord appears, we're not talking about the day of the Lord. We're talking about when the Lord gathers his body.
Yeah.
His church.
Yeah.
And it's all those people that believe in Jesus Christ and they look forward to his appearing. When that day happens, there's going to be people looking around going, oh, maybe they had a point. Okay, very well. I accept Jesus Christ into my heart. Too late.
Okay.
It's too late.
If we go, okay, let's kind of, because we don't have too much time.
Yes.
So, door shuts.
Yes.
In 7 days, it's going to rain. So, you can kind of relate that to the 7-year tribulation and then the wrath of God.
Yep.
Now, after the 7 days.
Yep. Boom.
Now.
Yeah.
It's starting to the firmament's opening, the wells from the ground are busting up, right?
Once they're in the ark, now all hell breaks loose on the earth.
But there is a 7 day before things start getting, and in 7, we can kind of look at it.
Yeah.
7-year tribulation portion. Then
because it's. I think we have to understand that in a 7-year period that people are like, oh, that means the end of the world on day 1 of that 7. No. There's a 7-year period where it gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Different. The seals are open. The vials are coming upon the earth. All this kind of stuff, and it gets to a point in the Book of Revelation where the angels are like, "There's 3 more woes to come. Yeah. Woe to anybody left on the earth."
But then after those 7 years tribulation, after these 7 days, now the wrath of God is at full force.
Yes, full on.
Okay, so that's that's when we hear Jesus say it's going to be like the days of Noah. Well, it's first off, his wrath is coming upon the earth because of the corruption of the DNA of his.
And there's still days happening while Noah was in the ark. So it's still his days because he's alive, and he's going to be alive for like 350 years after the flood. That's all Noah.
We've had people, or I've heard this too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's no rapture. How come Noah was in rapture? It's like, well,
that kind of looks like a rapture.
or we're going to be here in the tribulation, right? And it's like, well, because Noah wasn't saved. He was saved. He was literally lifted up. everybody around him perished.
Everybody. Yep.
And there's
Yep.
like only 8 of them. 8 is a significant number,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
You know, and even the waters receded in chapter 8. Like it's so
Yep.
crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much more to this, but we're
Yes.
just trying to show the general idea of why
Yep.
we are tying what Jesus said about the days of Noah to this.
Yes.
The world was corrupt. Not because man is corrupt, their hearts are corrupt. However, the evilness is not, it's a degree of the DNA has been corrupted. God's creation
Yeah.
was corrupted.
Yeah, that's
with
the next level. It wasn't
the-
just people getting upset.
Yeah,
that
and like
you
no,
cut
no,
my
no.
grass
Yeah.
for me.
No. This was corruption of God's creation, and
Yes.
that was even what
Yeah.
we see. Also, like it's an ongoing theme of the enemy.
Yeah.
You look at the themes throughout biblically, the rising of these false gods, the little gods at idolatry,
Yeah.
all of these things. Like this is a reoccurring thing, but this
Yes.
was a major thing.
Yes.
This was a corruption of God's DNA, and he had to
Yes.
preserve that bloodline.
You have to
for,
preserve it for the Messiah.
for the Messiah. This
Yes.
is key, right?
Key,
It's not just people
100%.
like,
Yeah.
doing their thing, living their life, being bad because like,
Yes.
like bad. No, this was a heavy corruption.
Yeah, because that goes against God's word. If
Sodom
Noah's
and
family
Gomorrah.
died,
Same kind of corruption.
yes, Yes.
Very, very similar.
Yes.
There is a trend here,
Yes.
right? So we really want to hammer on that. It wasn't
Yes.
just like God got mad at everybody,
Yes.
wanted to destroy everybody. I
Yes.
mean, because of the corruption of
Yes,
his
for sure.
genetics, his DNA
Yes.
in
And-
his creation. That is
Yes.
a big deal to God.
So this is why I believe that we have to watch, and this is why if we go, let's go over to Matthew 24 and dive
Okay.
into that real quick, because we've got about 10,
Okay.
15 minutes left. But it's important to talk about why we can know that hour, why we can know that hour,
I just want to show
and
you
that
guys something.
in that season. Yeah.
You know, my brother is in the Word nonstop. Okay, like I mean, if we look at like just highlights everywhere. Okay, and he's so funny. Every chapter, 14 hours till the end of Revelation. So he's clocked it how long it takes him to run through this. Like it's pretty neat. Anyway, side
Well,
note.
at 20 pages an hour, you can actually
Yeah,
get through the whole
every
Bible.
chapter. Oh,
Yeah.
so many hours till this one.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like it's pretty funny.
Yep,
He's
yep.
got it clocked out.
Yeah. All right, thank you for that. So Matthew 24, because everybody comes and says,
You don't read the Word.
well, yeah, that too. But they're like, they only grab one verse and they say, no one knows, no one knows, no one knows, and that's it, no one knows. But they ignore everything else, because Jesus literally is saying that Noah knew. Noah knew.
Oh yeah, he knew.
And he knew it probably even more so once the ark was finished, that it's sooner than later. And that's all we're saying. We're not picking a date. But if we go into
this is the Word. We're not adding, like we're
Yeah.
looking at the Word and digging in, like
Yeah.
this is the Word.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
we ignore all this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the connections and the correlations and the foreshadowing, right? It's all one. If you really dig in the Word, it's the beginning to the end to the beginning, and it's all connected.
Yeah.
It's beautifully intricated. Like it's
Yes. Yeah. So back to the.
Okay.
But that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood,
they're eating, drinking, marrying,
They're
and giving in marriage
eating,
until the day. Okay.
yeah, eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage
All the way
until
up to
the day
that Noah.
entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came. Then they knew. They knew then, once the ark started floating away and took them all away, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. It'll be like the same thing. You have the tribulation going on, and we're trying to tell you that there is a flood coming. That's what we're saying. We don't know when, but when you look around, there's a flood coming, and it's the tribulation. And we're trying to warn people by saying, look, you don't have to go through the tribulation.
Okay, I'm gonna really touch base on
Yes,
this thing
yeah.
because we keep coming back to no one knows a day or hour.
Yes.
Okay. I know we wanted to go in, but I think this enlightened me a little bit because I was like, pre-trib, or what's this whole whatever
Yeah.
thing, when I was
Yeah.
digging with the Lord and speaking with the Lord over years of this.
Yeah.
He revealed to me the traditional Galilean wedding.
Oh, yes.
Like this was a big pivotal point for me on that specific verse.
Yep.
Right. So if you do some research on that, it's actually a beautiful, beautiful thing. So you also have to realize when Jesus was speaking, he would always look at his demographic, the people, the type of people that he was preaching to,
Yep.
and the tradition and the lifestyle of that time.
Yep.
And he would speak in parables with those degrees, and people would understand it. So I mean, he would be the same if this was the day that Jesus was to show up and he was doing his ministry. He'd be relating our lifestyle, or I should say,
in our language that we understand, basically.
Culture.
Yeah, our culture.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, so when we look at the Galilean traditional wedding back then, what would happen is that there's a man, he's like, oh, I want her, I'm going to propose to her.
Mm-hmm.
So he would go, and it could be anybody that's included that can be included in this engagement. Everybody could see, it doesn't matter, the whole town, the city, everybody can be involved in this. He would go to her and say, here's a cup, there's wine, whatever. We're betrothed, I want to marry you. If you drink from this cup, you're accepting my proposal, okay? So you're going to hear all sorts of things. If you have read the words of the Lord throughout the Gospels, you're going to pick up these little cues here. So he gives her this glass, wine goblet, whatever you want it is. And he says, if you drink this, we're going to be engaged. So she takes it, drinks it, and he says, I'm not going to drink of this wine until we're one. Wow. I will not drink this until we're one.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Okay. Yeah. So she goes to her, to go get ready. Her and all her bridesmaids. Mm-hmm. Now are
they excited?
Yeah, they're super excited. So she's going to prepare for the wedding. She has no idea when her groom's going to come get her for the wedding. Mm-hmm. They don't set dates then.
Right.
It was all up to, we'll get to this, but she had no idea when this was happening. So she went home. She just
knew she's engaged. and
she started preparing.
They're getting married.
Her and her bridesmaids, the bridesmaids are preparing.
Right.
So they're constantly, getting her prepared, like like Esther, right?
Yep.
With oils and having their oils ready, and and she's in her gown, like she's literally in her gown waiting because she literally doesn't know when. So that's what's going on her side. Then you have the the groom, future groom, whatever. He goes back to his father's house. Okay, he starts building onto his father's house a home for him and his soon-to-be bride.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay,
yep.
So they know that they got to keep. They know that he will come right in the middle of the night, because that was the tradition that he would come and grab her in the middle of the night for their wedding. Oh, wow. So why? Because when he was ready to go, when he was released to go, he would go at night. So no distractions.
Yep.
So it was up to the bridesmaids to make sure that they had the oil always burn, those lamps always, so that he can go find the house. Okay.
It's good. Keep going. I'm going to grab a drink. Keep going with this. I'll be right back.
Okay. So in that degree, when he's back at his father's house building on, he doesn't even know, the groom doesn't even know at that time when he's going to go. It's the father, his father, that's going to say, okay, my son, you got the house all ready to go for your bride. Now go get her. This was the Galilean wedding tradition of how things were set up at that time, which is pretty interesting when you're thinking about this. So when Jesus is even, I don't know, only the Father knows. Well, yeah, he's really relating it to the traditional Galilean wedding. So once the Father says, okay, go get your bride, he goes out in the middle of the night, picks her up, brings her to the wedding feast, lifts her up.
Oh, man.
They lift her up. They go into the feast. The door is shut. Now, all the people that witnessed the engagement that could have been a part of it, if they're not a part of this wedding, the door's shut. They can't come into the wedding and they celebrate for 7 days.
Wow. 7 days. So they're separated from everyone else.
They're
for
separated
7 days.
Like with the wedding feast.
So that ties in with the tribulation, 7 years. We're separated from that.
And nobody can go in.
You can't go in. It's too late. Not to say that people can't get saved, because we're talking about this yesterday.
Yeah.
It says, woe to the people that give suck in those days. Like basically, I believe that before the tribulation, all children, everybody that's below the age of accountability, boom, instantly in heaven. That's not to say that there couldn't be people being born during the tribulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a horrendous time to be born, because there's so much corruption on the earth that is not a good time to have a child during the tribulation. And we know that children are probably going to be born, and it's not going to be easy for mothers in those days. Same thing with the Sabbath. Jesus said pray that it doesn't fall on the Sabbath, because again, if you got a bunch of religious minded people, they're like, hey, we can only walk so far during the tribulation on a Sabbath. We're in harm's way.
Yeah, if they're not able to
if they can't
escape
break
to the mountains, or do
yeah,
those
if they
things
can't get there, they got to rest on the Sabbath for 24 hours, and then they can keep going. It's going to be complicated.
Yeah.
So that's all we're saying is Jesus is saying you could know.
We're his bride.
Yeah.
Right?
You could know. You may not know the exact day, but one thing I wanted to touch on.
But this is the Galilean wedding portion. Like if we look at when Jesus is speaking parables, it's like the bridesmaids.
Yes. The tent. Yeah.
Right? Do not be unwise.
Yes.
Have your oil, like the overflow of oil.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Why? Because you need to have it burning, right?
For yourself.
For yourself.
Yes.
Right? But but if you look at the Galilean wedding, he needs to see where his bride is. So when you are always in the Word and in his presence and in that place, it's overflowing. You're a beacon. He can see you.
Yes.
He can see you.
Yep.
So when he comes in the middle of the night, and to other people, it's going to be shocking. But to the group with the bride and to the bridesmaids, they're not going to be surprised. They've been toiling with him. They've been with him the whole time. They've never separated, because they're in his presence. They're in the secret place with him. They can hear his voice. They can hear that.
We can hear it. So so I want to wrap this video up with just this thought about how we can know the hour, and what I feel the Lord is saying about when he says no one knows the hour. If we tie it into the Lord in the garden.
Yeah, the Garden of Gethsemane.
Yeah. He basically said, I'll just read it real quick. And they came to a place which was named Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, sit ye here while I shall pray. And he taketh them with Peter, James, John, and began to be sore amazed, and to be very heavy. And saith to them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful unto death. Tarry ye here and watch. So he's asking them to watch with him.
So he's separating himself. He's taking time with the Lord.
Yeah.
He knows with the Father.
Yeah.
Like with the Father.
Yes.
He's taking that separation time
from
them, but he's telling them, can you stay up, pray.
Yeah, stay up, stay awake and pray with me.
Stay awake.
Just for a little.
Do not fall
asleep. How long
asleep.
do you think he asked them to stay awake for?
An hour.
You think he was talking 60 minutes? Okay.
The hour that he was in.
Exactly.
This was a major pivotal moment. He
Yes.
knew he was at the place where he was about to get arrested.
Yes.
He knew it was coming. This was everything that
Yes.
we've been waiting for.
Yes.
The disciples, this is the moment.
Yep. So
and they fell asleep.
Yeah, so he went forward a little, fell on the ground, and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. And he cometh and findeth them
and they're sleeping again.
Sleeping, and saith unto Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? Couldest thou not watch 1 hour? Wow. Watch ye and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. And again he went away and prayed and spake the same words. And when he returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. Neither wist they what to answer him. They had nothing to say. They were caught asleep, sleepy.
Oh,
and he cometh the third time and saith unto them, okay, sleep on now. Take your rest. It is enough. The hour is come. So they knew the hour is here now. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise up, let us go. Lo, he that betrayeth me is at hand. And I just want to say this one thing with sleeping. When we fall asleep and you wake up, what is the first thing that you do when you wake up?
Check the time.
Check the time. Why?
Because when you're asleep, you don't know what time you're in.
You don't
what time
know.
it is. How old I? You wake up, you're like, oh man, it feels like 8 o'clock in the morning, but you just had a little cat nap at night or something,
Yeah.
and it's 8 o'clock at night. You don't even know.
You don't know what time it is because you're asleep.
Yeah.
So this is what Jesus is saying. Don't sleep. Don't be like those people.
Spiritual
And-
sleep.
And if we're thinking of ourselves as sheep and we hear his voice,
Oh yeah, this is good. This is good.
if you study sheep, they don't sleep. They don't sleep. They're going to be, oh, Shane, yes, they do. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Come on.
Sheep sleep a lot of their time standing up. They fall asleep standing
They're
up.
ready.
And when they do sleep, they take cat naps. They should call it really sheep naps.
Yeah.
But 15 minutes, an hour or so here and there, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4, but it's sporadic. Pigs, this is interesting. Swine
Mm-hmm.
spend most of their days asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Half their time is spent asleep, and the time that they wake up is at night.
And
Let's party.
Yeah.
Let's party. And I wanted to read one thing. Oh, can you pull this up for me real quick?
Okay.
Type in, and hopefully this phone doesn't run out. But this is something interesting because it ties in with our phones.
okay.
And we're constantly distracted with our phones 24
the
hours a
surveys.
day,
Or the
7 days a week. The lyrics. I want you to type in Telephone by Lady Gaga.
Ugh.
And we're going to read the lyrics. This is interesting because I think this is the same state that we're going to be in just before the tribulation happens, before we get raptured. And this ties in with the flood. I think they were all distracted. I think they were all nonchalant. They couldn't care less about what is
I'll
happening
be
around them.
dancing.
Yeah, so just read
Tonight
the
I'm
first
not
bit.
taking any calls.
Yep.
Stop calling. Stop calling.
Yeah. So basically, let me just read it real quick here. Some of it. So, okay. Hello,
It's
hello,
weird how you're bringing
baby.
the song up.
Yeah, you called. I can't hear a thing. You called. I can't hear a thing. I have got no service in the club. You see. What did you say? Oh, you're breaking up on me. Sorry, I cannot hear you. I'm kind of busy.
Okay, but this is
Catchy song.
Yeah.
But that tells me that people are so busy right now that we're not going to listen.
However, the Lord is stirring them in
Yes.
that place.
Yes.
Even
for sure.
amongst, like, you know, if they're
Yeah.
in that lifestyle,
They're
you know,
just
and the Lord does.
they're
like,
ignoring it.
If we get caught up in those lifestyles and we stray, the
Yes.
Lord's always
Always
he's so
speaking.
gentle. He's
Yes.
such a gentleman. He's always
Yes.
playing with our heart, like
Yes.
you know, pulling at our
Yeah.
heartstrings. Like, come back to me, come back
Yes,
to me, my
and
son,
what I'm
my
saying
daughter.
here from
you know,
Lady
like-
Gaga's song is it's more important to party than to listen. They're like, don't call me.
yeah, yeah.
Don't call me. And they put their phone aside and they're like, we don't want to pay attention to any of these warnings.
Yeah,
We just want to live the life like back to Noah's Ark, partying,
days.
living it up, all this kind of stuff. And we're so distracted today with our phone by going, man, I just need a dopamine hit. I need
that
this.
hyper fast.
Yeah, I
It's
need
like
this.
what it does with your brain when you're hyper stimulated, right? Like, people are trying to go to bed and
Yeah.
they're on their phone and they're like
Yeah.
it does something. It literally
Yeah.
does something to your
Yeah.
brain. Like, I even see
Yeah.
it with my child, my son at times. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, no YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, don't be on, you know,
Yeah.
the iPad too long, because it literally changes because he's so hyper stimulated
Yeah.
that he becomes very irritable,
Yes.
very cranky,
Yeah.
very tired.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, okay, those are the things that it's actually physically dumbifying us in
Yeah.
a degree,
And that's-
numbing us. But
and-
what is the Lord? The word of the Lord says, renewing of
Renew-
the mind
Daily.
daily.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Yes.
the thing that renews our mind daily.
Yes.
So amongst the storm going on,
Yeah.
this is what's calming the storm.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though the
And-
information and we're seeing it come to life,
Yes.
you know, you'd think this is like wild and crazy and scary, but it's not,
Yes.
because the peace that's
Yes.
coming in it in the relationship with the Lord,
Yes.
and He is the one that gives us the peace, the understanding,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
His, right. So I mean,
I
it's so important.
100%. And I'm not trying to say that we're causing people to panic. I'm just
No,
trying to compare the state when Paul says in 1 Thessalonians there would be a falling away.
yeah,
I believe that falling away is falling asleep. There'll be many people falling asleep,
Like, in the faith,
apostasy,
yeah, spiritually.
falling away from faith, all this, and just being numb
Mm-hmm.
to hearing the voice of the Lord. And I
Yeah.
think that is starting to happen right now. And when the rapture happens, it's going to be full on
But the
distraction.
Lord is doing a beautiful move upon
Yes.
the hearts of His prodigal sons.
It's
His
all
prodigal
over.
da-
It's
you
all
know,
over. Yeah.
He is really,
Yep.
really, really ministering to His kids,
Yes.
and
It's a
because
wake-up call
He's
right
a
now.
God of redemption. He's a God of love,
Yeah.
and He just wants His children to be on guard and to be able to witness to others His love, His mercy, His grace.
Yes.
At the end of the day, this is not something that we want to scare anybody.
No.
It's like,
No.
it's to know the Lord and
Yes.
His grace in it. We're calm in it because of His love and the
Yeah.
relational aspect
Yeah.
that, you know, we want to dig more into, knowing more in every day. Changes
Exactly.
our heart. Our heart becomes what? Our heartbeat is of His.
Yes.
The peace, His surroundings. He has us under His wing. You know,
Yes.
like that is a place of peace. And you know, it reminds me of when they were on the boat and
Oh, yeah.
Jesus was sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
he was resting in the
Yes.
Lord. He was
And
resting
that's
in the
what we-
Father. He was resting in the Father.
Yes.
There was a storm going on,
Yeah.
and all the disciples were like, "Oh, Rabbi," and then
Yeah.
what does he say? You of little faith.
Yeah. 100%. And I
Like-
have to be cognizant of the time because I
Yeah.
think this could run out pretty soon,
And we gotta go to church.
and we got to go to church. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, any last thoughts?
So glad that you're on this channel. We love you.
Yeah.
Our hearts are for you. Any kind of questions? I mean, this is just us digging in the Word.
Yes.
You know, this is what we see the Word.
Yep.
Like we're hearing from the Lord, and to some degree, sometimes, you know what, we might be a little off.
Yep.
Right? But it's you know, communing with each other, our brothers and sisters in Christ, in
Yep.
prayer, you know, getting into the Word, a secret place with the Lord, and allowing the Holy Spirit to teach us and to walk us through that.
Yes.
Sometimes, you know, like you can even see pastors, ministers over the years of their ministry. They're like, you know what? I kind of had it a little bit wrong. It was more,
Yeah.
but it's the grace of
Exactly.
God,
Exactly.
and He's teaching us continuously if we're
Yes.
seeking Him.
Yep.
And you know what? This is not a fear tactic.
No.
This is only of love,
Yep.
and this is only amazing, neat things that
Yep.
like He's so intricate. It's not
Yes.
just one verse. It's mind-blowing how everything is so connected in
Tied in,
every
yeah.
every word.
Yes.
You know, even numerically, there's like codes. There's
Yes.
like, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So we're trying to excite you
Exactly.
and provoke you to get into the Word, get into the secret
and,
place with
and
the Lord.
give you peace as well. And I'll wrap
Yeah.
this up real quick because this could run out. But I just want to say that if you don't know Jesus Christ, it's more about bringing to the table, like yourself, all your sins and all this kind of stuff. It's more to it than that.
Yeah.
Because if you think that you have to do certain things in order to get into heaven, we're telling you that it is only through Jesus Christ. You just have to believe that He is the Son of God, that He died on the cross, He rose again on the third day, and He is alive right now, and He's coming back one day for the church, and He wants the whole world to be saved.
And you know what? One little thing here.
Yes. Yeah.
Say it's not 2 years, 10 years, 20 years.
Right.
That the return of the Lord.
Yes.
I mean, we're close. I'm
Close.
just saying.
Yes.
Say if it never happens, but it's going to.
Yes.
I'm not guaranteed tomorrow.
100%.
I can die wherever.
Yep.
Right? The Lord could take me. And am I prepared to meet?
Exactly. That's what we're talking about here.
At the end of the day,
We have today.
we only have today.
Yep.
If we look at that, like, who's to say? How can we make plans? We can make plans, but doesn't mean it's going to happen.
No.
right?
No.
Like, I mean, we only guarantee today. So where do I
Yep.
sit
Yep.
with our King?
Yes, exactly. That's the most important thing
At
that
the
you
end of
can
the
get
day-
out of this is you have today. You're not promised tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're saying you need to know Jesus, then dive in.
Yeah.
Dive in.
Just come to him as you are.
Yes.
As you are. You don't gotta stop this, stop. No.
No.
That's him that will convert, change your heart.
Yes.
And renew, take it out, and put a heart of flesh in you.
Yes.
You know, like and
Yes.
his heart, like
Yeah.
he
Let
does
him
that.
do that part.
Let him do
Yes.
that part.
Yeah.
It's just the surrender piece,
Yeah.
and it's
Let him
it's-
save
it's-
you.
let him save you. That what he already did for you.
Yes.
You know, like
Yeah.
you go walk into a church, go.
Yep.
It doesn't
Exactly.
matter. Or you go on your knees right now, ask him into your heart.
Yep.
He only wants relationship, and he wants your heart.
100%.
Surrender. That
Yep.
is it. It's the simplicity of that. And everything else will come from that place when you spend time with him.
Awesome.
Okay.
We did it.
Yeah, we love you.
We made it. Yes, we love you very much. Love my sister. Thank you for helping me out on this channel.
Yeah, it's
I
fun.
appreciate it. So,
Fun.
yeah.
Yeah, let us know if you guys want us to convene more often
Yeah,
together.
exactly. She might have to come up every weekend.
And you got to come see me.
That would be fun. All right. Okay. See you later. Bye.